All right, welcome everybody. This is my in-scale railroad, the Smokey Mountain Southern Railway. It's going to give you a brief tour of everything, and then we'll run some trains around. So we'll start here in Jerome. This is the gas company. It's named after my father. This is the programming track here on the side. It flips up and out and then stores away. This is the Knoxville yard, which as you can see is incomplete. Some other odds and ends, Pensacola Beach decorations. My main plug-in for my throttle. The yard is 6 tracks, so not very big. Basically using it for storage now, not really any switching operations going on right now. With 3 staging tracks for locomotives in the back. Excuse me. Right now I've just been kind of keeping my favorites out here. I've got the new Bachmann K4, the American Freedom Train, a Conrail SD70 ACE, the Greyhound Challenger, some spare passenger cars. Up here in the front, as you can see, I kind of favor steam trains. Got the Kato FEF number 844 with the rail fan train behind it. The Nickel Plate Road 765 with some assorted freight cars behind it. The Bachmann EN1 Baltimore and Ohio. Have a double head SD70 ACE George Bush and Union Pacific with some intermodal freight behind it. ABBA configuration Santa Fe with the El Capitan Kato set behind it. And then the Athearn Big Boy number 4006 with some L&N Dixie Line coal cars behind it. So that's the Knoxville yard. Moving on, we have Kent. Kent was named after my buddy's uncle, who was a big model railroader, and he was an L&N fan, so hence the L&N coal cars and everything. That's why also you see some stuff from Tennessee around there, abandoned depot. The mountainside. So as you leave Knoxville Yard, you come out along this lower track here into the town of Martha. First you pass a host of switching operations at the grain elevators, the freight terminal, hardwood furniture, and the lumber yard. And the power station in the background, along with the university graphics and the kit transfer in the very back. So as you wind your way up the hill, up through around the town of Martha, you come into the station, which is alive with activity, as you can see. People waiting on trains, people in the parking lot getting ready to leave, firemen helping out 2 young girls getting a kitten out of the tree. So here's the town of Martha. Some cobwebs in it. Let me clean those out real quick. This layout resides in my garage, so it's not completely safe from intruders. Got some other small details. Scenes going on around town, people getting tickets, farmers market, waiting in line at the movie theater, the picket line. My scenic, so anyway, we'll go around the left of the layout, then on around, go back around to the side. Through the S-curve, which looks really cool, but I would never do it again. It's a logistical layout nightmare. Around the corner of the forest, back by Kent, and dive back into tunnel number 2. Once you're through the mountain, you pop out of this tunnel, come over the wooden trestle, which is not, and the river is Christine's River, named after my grandmother who died last year. The gorge that it created is Sarah's Gorge, named after my wife. And then the mountain is Robbins Peak. And up on Robbins Peak, you have some moonshiners, some bear next to the creek, and some deer down at the base. And then people enjoying the scenic overlook. As you come down this way, you pass by Jerome, which the road is under construction leading up to it. Got some surveyors taking some shots, construction equipment, and gentlemen desperately needing a bathroom. Once I'm back around, back into Knoxville Yard, and that'll complete a lap around the layout. So that's pretty much it. Try to get you a bird's eye view of the whole thing. It's roughly 9 feet by 7 feet, a little less than that actually. It'll fit through standard garage door or standard double door. The layout itself, the tabletop is on hinges, so I can actually take all the trains and all the buildings that aren't glued down off, lock it into about an 80-degree angle position so I can slide it through narrower doors. I haven't actually tried this yet, moving it through anything, but according to what I've measured, it should work. Here's the back side with the Smokey Mountain Southern Railway. And then the access portal for the tunnel for emergencies. So layout still under construction, still making some final details, still adding things here and there, but overall it's complete to where I wanted to put this out there so my friends and family could see. I want to show you more of the construction of my layout here. It's set on a bathroom vanity that I modified and reinforced the base with casters so it can freely roll around my shop. Bought the vanity at a scratch and dent price. Inside here is where I keep some odds and ends trains, the brains for the layout, Digitrax, auxiliary transformer for my switch power, and then the power strip to power everything inside here. Pretty simple. Coming back around the front of the layout, which is where all the power comes out of, I have a computer cooling fan that I have hooked up to a small transformer inside to keep that blows directly on the fans. All the power comes out of the hole right there and then into the fault indicator. You see the host of wires coming out. I have the layout broken into 3 major sections: the main line, switching and industry, and the yard, so that way it can, if faults happen, it can isolate those to a particular area. You see all the feeder wires running all over the layout. Christmas lights are for being able to see under here a little bit better. Didn't know, if I ever start showing this layout, if I'd be able to see everything. So those are controlled right here by this little box. You can turn them multicolor or white. Off is the main power strip is right here. This will shut everything down. There are a few remote switches controlled in here. There's just the standard Kato switch box. Basically, those are all the ones around the industry and over in the coal mine, and the far one over there next to the bridge that I wouldn't be able to easily reach by hand. All the rest of them, such as in the yard, on each end, in the back, and over at the gas company, those are all manual throw. The fascia is just reclaimed wood that I found in the back of my shop. It was here when we bought the house. There were a few details of how I built the layout. First question I usually get is, man, this, the bridge, did you make this on your own? Yes, I did. It's a kit that comes in balsa wood strips. I stained it and drew the design myself, which they made just from pictures that you can find online. Came up with a rough idea of what I wanted. I knew roughly how big the kit would allow me to build the bridge, and I built the bridge first and then fit it to the layout second. The water is 2-part epoxy with Woodland Scenic's realistic water as the waterfall, and then the rapids are just a whitewash 50-50 white acrylic paint. I believe the overall effect is pretty good. The rocks are plaster Paris molds, painted in the cheetah technique, and then with the gaps filled in, and then of course foliage to hide any extra oversized holes. You see the tunnel a little bit wider than a normal tunnel. That was because I put it on a curve. I thought I had put enough straight track in there to avoid this, but I hadn't, so lesson learned for the future. The guts of the layout, if you will, all the track runs on the Woodland Scenic's grades, which you can see a little bit of an example right here. This is all glued and tacked down and whatnot. There's a 3% grade leaving the yard coming up around Martha, and then a 2% grade coming back down the other side. All of the mountain and all the hills in between are newspaper wads covered in plaster of Paris. And then I took with my hands and covered the whole thing in about 2 gallons worth of wall joint compound to really make it hard, and then painted everything with a cheap brown paint that I got from Ace Hardware. The track is Kato Unitrak. I was able to make the design entirely with the RailCAD free software I found online. I'd say it fit within about 99% of what I wanted. The one thing that the software doesn't count for or check is operability. So the original design fit, however I had to come back through while running several locomotives and as I added scenery to make sure everything worked and operated as I wanted it to, take care of any S-curves or anything like that that were really screwing up operation. Once that was in place, I glued and tacked it down, started adding in the ground foam. Most of this ground foam is just glued down. This comes in a powder form. This stuff comes as coarse foliage that Woodland Scenics puts out. I think it does a really nice job of, wait for the jets to go by. Does a really nice job of covering and making the forest floor look really full. As you can see here, the trees are from a variety of sources. I can't even start to name off where they all came from. A few were handmade from a layout that I built when I was 14 years old. The bridge kit is Rick's. A lot of the buildings are hand-built, hand-painted by me. Some of them are store-bought. The Dugan's Paint Store, the police station, the grocery store, and the pub, and the general store on the end are all purchased Woodland Scenics complete models. I believe the rest are all hand-built, hand-painted by me. It is DCC controlled. I do have remote throttle capabilities, but I have the R throttle. I haven't upgraded to the D yet. You can see where some of the ballasting has not been completed yet here in the coal mine. Just lazy, what it comes down to, other stuff to do. The high voltage power line towers is my first Craftsman kit that I assembled. Turned out pretty good. They actually worked out. They actually looked better originally before I had the power lines on them. Trying to attach the power lines caused me to rip off some of the contacts there and had to reattach those several times in some cases. So All the rocks are plaster of Paris molds. I think I already said that. The road is all wall joint compound, dyed gray, and then little things painted and added in. It's not the best looking road, I'll admit, but I think it conveys what a road is supposed to look like, along with the sidewalk. I think that'll about do it. All right, thanks.